Hi, this is Linda, and today we are going to be doing pages 52 to 58. This will be about writing algebraic equations. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Get started here. All right, one-step equation. So what is an equation? An equation is written usually in symbols. You can also say it in words and then write it in symbols. So we'll go right to here. You can read that stuff on your own there, but let's start with talking about how we would look at these equations. So we have the product of 9 and a number is equal to 14. I'm looking at number 1 on page 52. Product of 9. So product means multiplication. Product is the answer in multiplication. So the product of 9 and a number. So when they say a number, that's going to stand for a letter. So we'll use n for a number, and they're actually using n in your answer choices. So we know that product means we're going to multiply. We know that the product is going to be 14. So that right away eliminates C because the product isn't 14, is it? So now we got to decide between plus n plus 9 or 9 times n. So we just said that it was talking about multiplying because we had a product. So that would give us B as an answer. This one we would eliminate because it's a plus. Number 2. The quotient of a number divided by 6 equals 50. Quotient is the answer in a division problem. So a number n divided by, always be careful when it says divided by, or if it doesn't say if the other one number is divided by it. So you have to make sure you get the right number in the right place. N is divided by 6, and that equals 50. So we have to divide n divided by 6, right? A number divided by 6, or another way of writing that is the number on top of the fraction and the 6 on the bottom of the fraction. So, and we know the answer, the quotient is the answer is 14 or 50. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So 50. So do we see something with that match? We sure do. We see letter C. This one is just the opposite. You have a 6 on the top. This is saying 6 divided by n. We have n divided by 6. So that's what I mean about making sure you're understanding what number goes where. And it also equals 14, which is wrong. And then this is multiplication. That doesn't even mean division at all. So it has to be C. Okay, we're going to clear. We're going to go on a little bit. Sometimes you can represent your equations with pictures. So we're going to write an addition equation for each drawing. So we have the total is 26. We have part of it being y and part of it being 9. So that would be y plus 9 equals, the total of 26. Okay. All right, I'm going to clear that and move on. This one is saying write a subtraction equation for the drawing. So how could we write a subtraction equation? Well, the total is t, and what are we going to subtract? Well, you could subtract either one, right? You could subtract 13 and get the answer of 15, or you could subtract 15 and get the answer of 13. So t minus 15 would also equal 13. Okay, let's clear. Let's move on to multiplication, representing that. Write an equation for each drawing. So we have, how many x's do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 x's. So 5 times whatever x's number is equal to the total on the bottom of 60. So when you're multiplying numbers together with a letter, you just put the number in front and then the letter next to it, and that means to multiply. Let's look at the division one. Number 9. So what are we doing here? Well, we have a total of n, and we're dividing it into how many parts of 7? 3 parts of 7. So we could say the total of n divided by 3 parts is equal to 7 with each part. Okay, division's a little bit different, a little bit, got to think through that one a little bit more. Let's clear. Okay, let's go on to checking unknowns. So they want us to try the number for x in the problem. So instead of x, we're going to put the number they tell us here. So we're going to put a 4 there instead of the x, and then we're going to add. So 4 plus 3 is equal to, well, they say 9, but it's not, right? So that's not true. It's equal to 7, right? So we would circle no, that is not true. Y minus 12 equals 37. We're going to put 49 here for y. So let's write 49 here and subtract. 49 minus 12 is 37. So that would be a yes. 3 times z equals 39. So we're going to put 13 in here for z. So it's really 3 times 13. So does 3 times 13 equal 39? It does, doesn't it? So yeah, so that's a yes. And that's how you're going to be doing that. We'll do one more. Number 4, that's an A. A is 54. So this is 54 divided by 15. So 54 divided by 15 would have to equal 3. Well, I already know that 15 times 3 is going to give me 45, right? That is not going to give me 54. So that's a definite no. 54 divided by 15 is not going to give you an even 3. So go ahead and try the others. Number 5, you're going to multiply 3/4 times 4. So you got to remember how to do that with fractions. And I don't think there's anything else that's new or different there at the rest of those. You can try all those. They're similar to the first ones we did. Solving an algebraic equation. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So the goal is to get, let me get way over here. The goal is to get x, or the letter, by itself. Goal is to get the variable by itself. The variable is the letter. So that is always your goal when you're solving an equation. So the first one's been done for you partly, it looks like. I like to write them up and down vertically. So how I would do this one, in fact, let's put a little spot here of empty space for us to write with. So what I would do is I would do x plus 5 equals 8. Now I have to get x by itself. So to do that, I'm going to subtract 5. And if I do that, I'm going to be left with x by itself plus 0. And any number by itself, any number added to 0 is just the number, right? And then on this side, if I did minus 5 to one side, I have to do it to the other side. Otherwise, I don't have a balanced equation anymore. So 8 minus 5 is going to give me 3. And then I eliminate the 0 because x plus 0 is just x. And my final answer then would be x equals 3. So that's the answer to this one, x equals 3. And then to check it, you would put the 3 back in for x, and you should get a true statement. So if I put 3 back in there, 3 plus 5 equals 8 is a true statement. So I know I did it right. X plus 7 equals 12. The next one, I'm going to subtract 7. And I have to do it from both sides because I have to do the same thing to both sides of the equals. Why did I take minus 7? Because that'll give me x by itself, because 7 minus 7 is going to be 0. So they're going to cross off, and I'll be left with just the x. And x is going to equal 12 minus 7, or 5. Then I can plug my 5 back into my original equation. Actually erase that so we can see it. My original equation was 5 plus 7 equals 12, and that is true, so we know we did it right. So that's what you're doing with those one-step equations. What about something like this? You have x plus a half. So x plus a half equals 4. You do the same thing. You have to subtract 1/2 this time. So you have to subtract a half from both sides, minus 1/2, both sides of the equals. And if I do that, I'm left with these canceling out again. I'm left with x equals 4 minus a half is 3 and 1/2. So that's the answer to number 3 over here. X equals 3 and 1/2. And you could plug 3 and 1/2 back in for x and add it to the half that's already there, and you should get 4. And if you do, it's a true statement. You know that you've done it correctly. Okay, I'm going to clear. Move on to a few other ones here. Solving a subtraction equation. Very similar method, except this time, just put a little white space again. That's not white space. Get rid of that. There's white space. Okay. So what you want to do, we'll do this one here. X minus 3 equals 7. So x minus 3 equals 7. This time, notice how that minus 3 is a subtraction. We are subtracting 3. So in order to get x by itself, I have to add 3. Why? Because a negative 3 and a positive 3 will give me 0, and they will cancel each other out. And then I'll be left with x, because remember, the goal is always to get x by itself. And then I have to add 3 to the other side, because I added 3 to one side of the equals. Now I have to add 3 to the other side of the equals, and I end up with 7 plus 3 is 10. So in this case, x is equal to 10. I can check it by plugging in 10 for x right up here. 10 minus 3 should equal 7. If I get a true statement out of that, then I've done it right. Let's try a little harder one. Let's do a fraction one. Let's do this one right here. V minus 2.5. So V minus 2.5 equals 5.5. So now what I need to do is I need to add 2.5 to both sides, because I was subtracting before. I have to do the inverse of what I was doing. So I was subtracting, now I'm adding. And I have to do the same thing to both sides, so I have to add a 2.5 to the other side of the equals, like this. The negative 2.5 and the positive 2.5 will cancel each other out. They'll both become 0, so I'll just put an X through them. And we'll be left with just V by itself equals, and then we just add 1/2 and 1/2 is a whole. So that's 2 over 2. And then 5 plus 2 is 7. So 7 and 2 over 2 is really 8. So V equals 8 for that one. So that's, which one was that? Where was that one? Oh, this one. So V equals 8. And if I was to plug 8 back in, I should yield a true statement out of that if I did it correctly. Okay, clearing that. A little bit further look down here. So word problems. If you subtract 18 from a number, the difference is 14. If n stands for the unknown number, which equation can be used to find n? Okay, so you got to kind of piece through that little by little. So if you're going to subtract 18 from a number, so n is going to be our number, but we're subtracting 18 from the number. So we can't do it the other way. So that eliminates A right away because that's taking the number from 18. So we don't want that. And then they say the difference or the answer to that is going to be 14. So what are our choices? Well, which one looks like our answer? This one right here. And a good way to do these problems like this is to write it out yourself and then look at the answer choices. Otherwise, it's easy to get confused. So C is the correct answer. And then they want you to solve it and find out what n equals. So you have to figure out what n equals. So I'm going to add 18 to both sides. And the 18s will cross off. I'll be left with n equals. And what does n equal? 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1, n equals 32. Okay, clear it. Number 3. Lynn bought a pair of shoes that were on sale for 25% off the regular price of $40. This one's tricky. Which equation can be used to find the amount Lynn paid? Well, I'm going to make a little bit of space here, I think, just in case. Helpful. So P stands for what? What does it say P is standing for? The amount that Lynn paid. Okay, so she's not paying full price. It's equal to the amount she paid. So it's her sales price. Sales. Should just typed it, easier to write. So it's her sales price. Okay, and how do we find a percent off of a price? Well, we take the full price and we multiply it by what? The percent off, right? So the percent off is 0.25, right? That's how you write percent in a decimal. So this is going to be the amount off. Okay, now we have everything we need to put our equation together. So again, we're not looking at the problem. We have a couple ways we can write this, right? So we know that we could do $40, right? Minus the percent off, that would be 40 times 0.25, whatever that is. And then that would equal the price she paid. That would equal P. So when I go over there and I look at my answer choices, I don't really have one that looks exactly like that. So then I have to think through this a little bit. And I have to say, well, P, the amount that's being paid, I'm not subtracting the amount off from the amount that she paid, right? I'm subtracting it from the original amount. So therefore, another way of writing this equation is to say the amount that she paid plus the discount that she had should equal the original price, right? And the original price was, problem says it, $40. So that one looks like A. I just have the 0.25 in a different order than the 40, but that doesn't matter, same thing. So that is the correct answer. The other two would be wrong. You're not taking the amount she paid minus the original price, and you're not taking the amount she paid minus the discount. So both of those would be wrong. And then you have to solve for P. So you would take 40 times 0.25, which would be, let's see, be 25 up here. I'm just going to do it vertically. And you get a 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 8, 9, 10. $10 off. So you have P plus $10 equals 40. And then how would you solve for P? Get P by itself by subtracting $10 from both sides. And P would be left by itself to equal 40 minus 10, or $30. That was the price that Lynn paid. Okay, that one was a little bit harder. Let's get clear. And I believe that's the end of the packet. It is. So the other ones I'll let you try on your own. And I'll see you back maybe on the next video, and hope you have a good day or evening whenever you're watching this. See you later. Bye.